Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another Bluethentic show, the Carlton and Essendon review. Myself here, Adam Pappel, and now one of our new special guests in Tim Richter, our crazy mad Essendon supporter. How are you, Tim?
Good day. Yeah, good. Thanks, Adam. How you going? Coming to you live from the State Netball and Hockey Centre here in Melbourne, and
Nice.
just come off the training track with my under-19 boys at Uni Blues in Doutta. So bit of football, bit of netball, but it's all sport, and that's very much in the family DNA.
Good on you. It's just us two tonight. We're going to do just a quick 18, 20-minute review. We'll go through a couple of agenda items, a couple of interesting ones there that we want to just have a chat about. How'd you find the game on Sunday night? I think most Essendon supporters would have been reasonably happy.
Yeah, I think so. And actually, you could hear it. I listened to, sometimes the club puts out some after the game videos. Not always just the coach presser, but it's one of the assistant coaches. In this case, it was Brent Stanton live from the rooms. And often when you have those chats in the rooms afterwards on the losing side, you can hear a pin drop. It's pretty quiet in there. And actually, if you listen to that, 2-minute chat with Brent Stanton after the game inside the rooms, you hear a lot of background noise. And to me, that's just saying that there's a at the moment from the effort. Now, yes, we lost, but there's a heap of positives that Essendon fans can take away from that game on Sunday, and we were actually in it for quite a long time. And so to me, there was certainly a lot more positive energy after the game following the results.
I think Essendon played really well, particularly in the first half. I mean, for the match, they were +7 in clearance and really dominated that in the first half. They were +25 for the whole match in contested possessions, right? Against Hewitt and Walsh and Cripps and these sort of guys, +10 contested marks. So, they actually matched Carlton at Carlton's Onewood and able to take away some of the stoppage and clearance effectiveness of Carlton. And, they're pretty efficient going forward in the first half.
Yeah, look, I agree with that. And we haven't had a chat before the show, but that's exactly the notes that I've sort of had written down here for myself is in terms of, hit outs, clearance, whether that was centre or stoppage clearance, with pluses across the board there. So pretty good effort from our midfield. Contested possessions, also you mentioned the +25 there. Really happy about that. But geez, I felt sorry for Nate Caddy on the weekend. The number of times that the ball went over his head or they kicked to a contest rather than him when he worked to get himself isolated, that to me was, he must have been a pretty frustrated player, I thought. So we didn't use it so well going inside 50. And as I said in the pre-game show, I was always going to be concerned about our scoring power, and we just didn't put enough scores on the board to win the game. We kicked 10 goals, which is fine. Now, if my memory serves me correctly, Adam, Carlton are usually pretty, or have been this year, a fast starting team. And we held the Blues to 1-2 in the first quarter. So defensively, we sort of stacked up. We won the clearance. We got it inside 50. We only kicked a couple of goals ourselves, but we did lead at the quarter time and the half-time break. And that was through that pressure, the stoppage work, the contested work. But, again, probably not enough on the board at half-time, 6 goals free to really put, that work to effect in terms of giving scoreboard pressure, and that really left the door open for the Blues in a low-scoring contest that had a lot of turnovers and skills errors throughout.
Yeah, I mean, from an efficiency perspective, Carlton went at 49% per inside in terms of their inside 50 efficiency, compared to, in the end, Essendon went at 39%. You spoke about Nate Caddy. Harry Dean played very well, but you're right. There's a lot of balls that went over Nate Caddy's head, right, that played into Harry Dean's control, and he was able to defend pretty well. I think the young fella played pretty well for Essendon, the small forward. It was quite lively, particularly in that second quarter when you had a bit of momentum. Like, your second quarter was really good. Got me?
Yeah, got you there, Adam. So technical difficulties are coming to you live via satellite. Yeah, no, still there. So yeah, Doutta played well in the first half, didn't sustain it in the second, but made himself available to put a couple of goals on the board and connected well with his teammates. So he's really playing the role that Isaac Kako would play as a small forward, and he played that pretty well, I thought, in the first half in particular.
How did you feel? Like probably, I think it was late second, definitely third and fourth quarters. Essendon seemed to be playing this kick in the back line, just going backwards, going across, going backwards. Like as a Carlton supporter, I was like, this isn't sustainable. I loved it, particularly in the last quarter when we got 3 goals up. I'm not sure. Look, I get taking time and playing a bit of tempo footy, but I think they just overdid it.
Yeah. No, I agree. We look better when we back ourselves when we go forward. And it's a strange tactic to employ when you're, in the fourth quarter, 1 or 2 goals behind and you're chasing the game. You're not really facing the game by going backwards. I think you do have to take it on. Now, they did make a couple of changes. If you remember, I said in the show, in the pre-game, we talked about how last week Solomon had employed Ben Mackay as a forward. And when we read out the teams before the game, we said that with Mason Redmond coming in, I predicted that Ben Mackay would play forward full time, which is exactly what happened. And he ended up being pretty effective. He's got good hands, buckets, and take some marks. And not the most dependable shot on goal, but he managed to kick a couple.
He's a Mackay.
Now, interestingly, in 115 games, as of 2 weeks ago, he had 1 career goal to his name. Now he's got 4, I think. So
I think it's a great move.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. The other one, we had 2 first-time goal kickers on the weekend, Essendon. So Max Condigianis, he kicked a goal in probably his, I think, 5th or 6th game of AFL. He plays a defender, but came forward and kicked a goal early. The other player that kicked their first career AFL goal was deep in the fourth quarter was Zach Reed. Which is also the other player I said was a chance to go forward, and who did go forward and gave us the last goal of the match, which made it a very interesting final 9 seconds of the game after he went back and slaughtered that. But a lot of people missed out on the fact that was actually his first career game. Now, he's been at Essendon for, I think it's probably 8 or 9 seasons. He's only played 30 or 40 games of AFL due to injury, but nice to see him kick a career, an AFL goal as well. So, a few little highlights there.
Yeah, I thought Sam Durham, particularly in the first half, I think he had over 20 possessions, was really effective for the Bombers. Hewitt obviously went to him in the second half and quelled his impact. Merritt, I felt, was behind the ball a lot. I'm not sure why he spent so much time behind the ball. As a Carlton supporter, if Merritt's kicking the ball inside 50, I'm concerned. I'm not sure why he didn't get in the middle a bit more. But I thought Essendon were pretty good, to be honest. I thought they had a pretty good game. Carlton sort of flexed a bit in the third and fourth quarters. They got their game going a bit. Transition from D50 and contested possessions. I mean, I don't think they played that well, but I don't think Essendon allowed them to play well either.
Yeah.
Who'd you give the 5-4-3-2-1 for the Bombers?
For the Bombers players, I think was without a doubt Durham was best on ground for mine. I thought the intent and the spirit in which he played was just really top notch. He tried all day. A couple of times when he just broke free from tackles in the midfield and took the game on. Be the only one sort of attacking the ball, jumping at the ball. I just thought he played exceptionally well. Look, I know Merritt got a lot of the ball, but I just don't think he used it particularly well, and he turned it over a lot. So Merritt's not in my top 5. I think Setterfield in the midfield actually played pretty well, played one of his better games. A lot of people had sort of written him off. He'd come back this year as a sort of top-up rookie sign-up because he got sort of cut at the end of last year. I actually thought he played pretty well. Roberts, the antagonist as usual. He might sneak in for a vote. I I think, Ben Mackay kicking 2 goals, 2 in a low-scoring affair. I think we've got to give him a vote somewhere as well. Then it starts to peter out a bit, doesn't it, for the Bombers?
Zach Reed was pretty good all night.
He was actually.
I think he got coaches awards, actually, coaches votes.
Yeah. So what do we got then? Durham, Setterfield, Reed, Roberts, and Mackay. There's my
5. I gave 5 to Harry Dean for his job on caddy. I know he didn't get the greatest look at it caddy all night, but I thought Dean, for an 19-year-old, what he's doing as a key defender without Jacob Wiedering is pretty crazy. I thought Harry Mackay was one of the more influential players on the ground, both in the ruck around the ground and hitting the scoreboard with 3 goals. George Hewitt was pretty solid all night. Went to Durham in the second half and quelled his impact. 27 possessions. Thought he played pretty well. Ainsworth tried really hard in the first half when a lot of the Blues weren't up and going. Kicked a goal. Had 341 metres gained. And I thought Akers tried hard all night. Turns it over a little bit, but I thought he tried hard all night. Those are 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 that I gave for Sunday night. Carlton v Essendon. Now, if we look at the kids, I thought from a Carlton perspective, Harry Dean was pretty good. I think Billy Wilson was really good off half back. I think Jagger was okay. I think Taylor Byrne kicked 2 goals. So I think those 4 players, those kids from Carlton, were pretty good. What do you think about the Essendon kids?
Look, the standouts for me were Sardis. Finally, good to see him in the middle a little bit. Picked up 25 possessions, and he's still a developing player, but at least he got some time in the middle. So I think he's still got a fair bit of upside if he just gets a chance. I think, well, without a doubt, Roby and Farrow, very, very good for again for their age and experience level. They contributed and did their part as as a lot of the Essendon fans would expect them to. And we mentioned Al Akshar before as well. I thought, again, for a young player to come in and play that sort of small forward role and provide some scoring options and a bit of pressure up forward, I think he also played his role well. So they were the standouts for me from our junior brigade.
I got to say, I love Sullivan Roby. He looks like he's going to be an elite football player. I don't know, just reminds me a little bit of LDU, just the way he moves. He's just got a bit of pizzazz. He's clean. He's tough. I think you've got a ripper on your hands there.
Let me add one more, Adam. I probably should put Caddy in there as well. Just sneaks in. He didn't hit the scoreboard until the 4th quarter, but it shows you that this guy, despite having, shit service all day, he kept trying, kept working, and eventually got the rewards. He did actually. His running patterns were good. He kept working into space. Eventually, he got found and eventually kicked the goal. And the maturity that shows to me is that he's prepared to give that effort, even when things aren't going his way. And when it came to the crunch at the end of the game, when the pressure's on, he was still there, still presented, marked the ball, kicked a goal. So I think that's also got to be recognised. But surely wasn't his best game. Or wasn't as impactful as he would have hoped.
Yep. Now, fair call. Moving on from the game. Now, I hear a rumour that Essendon have only got 14 flags. It's not 16. In 1897 and 1924, Essendon were awarded premierships. However, in those 2 years, there was no grand finals played.
That's right. Different system in those days.
Yeah.
And there's actually another controversial one, which is 1901, actually. But I'm glad, Rob didn't give you the briefing notes on this one. But 1897 is an interesting one because that's actually the first season, right? That's the inaugural premiership. So who won the first ever VFL premiership? The trivia answer to that is, of course, Essendon. And like you said, they didn't play a grand final. What they did in those days is the top 4 teams played a round robin series. And so all 4 teams played each other once. So Essendon played the other 3 top 4 finishers. And we beat Geelong, Collingwood and Melbourne in those 3 round robin matches. And so automatically based on that, we won the premiership and you don't need to play a grand final. So that's just how the system worked. And the system has changed, even in our lifetime, right? You think of the final system in BFL or VFL,
right.
and even now this year is going to be different again with 10 finalists. It does change. So that was 1897. If you look at 1924, I think you said, that was actually a controversial one because I had a system back then where Essendon won the final, but they didn't win the final game of the season. So let me explain this because it is a little bit funny that 1924 they got rid of the top 4 round robin series and they replaced it with the top 4 plays everyone else once. And if the minor premier, so the team that finishes on top of the ladder at the home and away season, also wins the round robin, then they're automatically awarded the premiership. Okay, so that's the rule. So Essendon did finish top of the ladder in 1924, so they were the minor premiers. But in the round robin, what happened was they won their first 2 games. They beat Fitzroy and they beat South Melbourne, and they went into the last game having to play Richmond. And they had so much percentage from those first 2 games that it didn't really matter what happened in that last game. They were going to win the round robin series. So they lost that last game of the round robin series against Richmond, but they had enough percentage from the 2 wins prior to actually win the flag overall. So they played to the rules, but that's how those games transpired. Pretty interesting sort of history.
Yeah, it is actually. Good
1901
answers.
is the other one that you didn't mention, but let me tell you about that one because that was actually a little bit similar to how we have played it up until last year, where we have in the first week of finals, you get that second chance. So 1901 was quite similar. They called it the Argus system back then. And what happened was Essendon lost their semi-final, but it meant that they had a second chance in a prelim, even though they were sort of like the losing finalists in the first week. So they lost first week, and then they went back into the sort of losers final, and they beat Geelong in what they call the challenge final. And then they went into the grand final. So they made it to the grand final, having lost in week 1, but winning in week 2, just as a team could do today if you finished top 4 or up until last year. And they played Collingwood in the grand final and beat them by 27 points. So that's how we won the 1901 flag. So, the AFL Commission sets the rules and we just play by them. So I'll take an objection to your reference saying that we've only won 14 premierships is certainly not true. We've won more than that.
I was definitely trying to find an asterisk. Absolutely, I was trying to find an asterisk against those premierships. Question for you before we get into quick hands. Essendon's on the bottom of the ladder. Richmond's second last. The best player in the draft this year outside Doug Cochrane and Cody Walker is Harry Van Hatten. Should Essendon tank?
No. Straight answer is no. We've got to build confidence and consistency in our players. We've got to develop a game style. We've got to get ready for a new incoming coach. We've got to build hope for our fans and our sponsors and stay commercial. Whether we get pick 1 or 2, I think history shows that it's not always the silver bullet that people are looking for. So we've got to train our guys to play a certain style and win games of footy, and there should be no compromise on that at all.
Fair enough. Good answer. I do agree with you, although Harry Van Hatten is one hell of a footballer.
Well, let's see how it pans out.
Now, a little segment that we like to do from time to time is called Quick Hands. Okay. We'll ask you some quick, sharp questions, and we're after quick answers in return. Will Merritt be a bomber in 2027?
Oh, geez. Yeah, and I've got to answer quick to these, don't I? I can't have time to think about it. Okay, so this is straight off the cuff. I'll say no, he's not.
How about Ridley?
No, he's gone.
How many wins will Essendon have in 2026?
I think we've got 2 more wins up our sleeve.
The 3. We'll
Yep.
Herd coach in 2027.
Yes.
When will the Bombers next win a final?
top 10, 2028. So not next year, the year after.
So 2028.
Yeah.
Okay. When will the Bombers win a flag?
2030.
Whoa. Who will be captain of Essendon in 2027?
Oh, McGrath. It'll still be McGrath.
Good work. That's it for quick hands.
Yep.
We're almost done. Thanks
Awesome,
again
Adam.
today, Tim. I think it was a pretty good game of football on Sunday night. I think you guessed that there were going to be 81,000 fans or just over, and it was you weren't too far off with 78,000, which I thought was a terrific crowd. And it was before the game, the whole Neil Danaher thing was outstanding.
It was.
And what did you think about that flag at the end of the game? Redemption number 5. were you the mastermind behind that?
I wish. No. Yeah, I like that. It's a yeah. Let's see how this all transpires. There's a fair bit of groundswell support for it, isn't there? Like it's just good for headlines, good for media, it's good for stories. It gets people talking and people interested in the footy, and that translates in people turning up to the ground. So when you think about it, close to 80,000 at the ground for 2 teams near the bottom of the ladder. They're showing support for footy. They're showing support for their team. They're showing support and respect for Neil Danaher. I think it's brilliant. I think, it's, as we said at the show on the weekend, the attendances across all of the AFL games just keeps getting bigger and bigger. It's a huge sport, and it's travelling in the right direction. I think some of the rule changes this season have been pretty good in terms of keeping the game flowing. One thing that I didn't like was that the umpires didn't call play on fast enough for Harry Mackay at the end.
Yeah.
He used the clock
it's a real
pretty
problem.
well, but he probably got about 45 seconds out of that.
It's a real problem, that rule.
Yeah.
Particularly outside 50. I mean, I reckon they should get 15 seconds outside 50.
Yeah.
That's it. Play on.
Yeah. Got to change the rule. It was unrealistic. It took too much time off. Now, out of all the predictions, I think everybody on the panel pre-game selected Carlton, but I think I might have taken the chocolates in terms of the margin. I'm just saying quietly.
Yeah. We're a lot more bullish. We're very bullish. Yeah. We're almost arrogant in our tips.
Typical.
Doesn't take much. Although we are 4-0 in the last 4 weeks, and we may never lose again. We may never lose again.
Guys. Yeah. Well, we've
Thanks
got
again.
Melbourne this weekend. Will be interesting, and then we've got a bye. And the week after, we should have about 12 players coming back from injury. So we'll have selection headaches, hopefully.
I definitely think you'll win some on the way home. The way you played on Sunday night, that's for sure.
Adam, thank you so much for having me as a guest on the show.
Thanks again,
I really
Tim.
Enjoyed it, and hopefully I can talk to you guys again
the next
time Carlton plays the Bombers.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get you on soon. You've been awesome, and we really value your contribution. It's been fantastic.
No worries.
Thanks, Tim.
Okay, see ya.
Bye-bye.